Good morning, everybody. Here we are again for another day, another morning, a morning of drawing. That almost rhymes. Are you drinking a beer there, Dale?
Yes, but a Corona non-alcoholic. It's the
Well,
breakfast of champions.
cheers. Cheers, everybody. Well, we're here again to do some drawing on the Urfspace live show. One of these days, I'm going to have the time to do a really nice animated title sequence. I'm not using the other one again because the Masters of Webcomics, that was more my interview show titles with that was a lovely song by my friend Owen Dunn. And then Chris Porrow did me a very nice song, which I probably should use that, except it just keeps saying my name all the time. Which makes me somewhat uncomfortable because of my traditional British reserve. Even though I like being on television or the internet. I kind of hate it too. I don't watch this crap. I mean, you should watch it. But I'm here to do some drawing today for you with my good friend and co-host Dale Cipperley, who, well, that's good. You're drinking the beer and I'm drinking the coffee because, out of all my multitude of options of co-hosts, Dale seemed to show the most contrast. I love Amber and Chris. They were so great. And, I'll be doing other things with them more in the future. But we were a bit all the same. Like Chris and I could just sort of chat endlessly about. Well, I think Chris wanted to do more of a sort of Bro Rogan show, which is good. I might do that with him separately. And Amber wanted to do a sort of more like her Philo show, so she's going to start that up again, I hope. And I'm going to do that with her too, which is a drawing show. But this is our Saturday morning Urfspace show, where anything could happen. But mostly I'll be doing some drawing. Now, during
I
the week,
don't
I
want
sort
a
of saved a
show.
few
I'm here out
drawings.
of guilt.
What's that?
I don't want a show. I'm here out of guilt and friendship.
If you don't want to be here, you can leave anytime
I
you like,
want to
and
be
I'm not holding you
awake.
prisoner.
I'm here. My job here is to pump you for as much cartooning information as I can, so I don't have to spend any effort learning how to cartoon. I could just steal everything from you. And that's what I want our viewers to be able to do. I want them to have the easy road to being cartoonists.
Well, cartooning is the easy road as long as you don't care about things like money.
Yes.
If you want money,
Yeah.
I suggest you go and become a banker or a
Sell
lawyer.
vinyl siding, kids. Sell out.
Bankers
That's
and lawyers
actually
invented money, in order that they could keep most of it for themselves.
well.
Cartoonists
That's
invented
actually
cartooning so we can keep that all for ourselves. Trouble is, I can't,
that's
I can't even afford to really read like other cartoonists' work. But we can trade and do all that. Ooh, hello. What happened there? Oh
you
my!
got
Oh
a
dear.
camera view of your junk.
Crotch shot. Look, I am wearing pants. That's good. See, that's why you always have to wear pants in this business.
I had to check this morning before I got on the show. I was dressed.
Oops. I spent ages getting that all set up neatly before. I didn't realize I was going to move it and knock it all down again.
Well, it's a philosophy now that they're teaching art students. Um, it's called the barbell strategy for starving artists. They don't want kids to go to art school. They want them to get a degree in something that will get them a job.
Yeah.
And then, because of all the info on the internet and online art schools, study that way and then do art on the side.
Well,
And
I
the
do have to
idea
admit.
is that they don't work for somebody else,
Yeah.
but they do their own projects and try to make the projects as extreme and weird as possible because
Yeah.
they want them to treat the projects like a startup. And you've done that in some cases because your webcomic, Pew Fell, that's not mainstream. That was something unique to you.
Thank you. Yes, Dale. Yes, Pewfall. I'm about to start running my magnus opus of Pewfall, which is the Drain of Chaos. The Drain of Chaos was sort of by the end of Drain of Chaos, I was getting quite good. But before that, I had no idea what I was doing. I just started drawing it, and one of these days I'll put out Pupil Volume Zero, which is what I did as black and white zines, and they did appear on the internet, but I sort of retired them, and mostly Pupil that's available in the books is when I was doing it on Modern Tales as a daily webcomic, and I did a panel a day, and and then Modern Tales I was getting some audience there, so that sort of motivated me. I always had a story in my mind of like the world and all that, and I sort of used to daydream that one day I'd be able to make a good comic or get the comic done, and I did it by doing it. But I didn't go to art school. No, I mean I took lessons, I read books, like Will Eisner book. Forget what that one's called. The comics and sequential art.
Well, he had more than one book on that. I think
Yes,
there
well,
was
yes,
like
and
2 or 3
How to
books
Draw
by
Comics the
him.
Marvel Way, and numerous books. I remember my dad got me the comics and sequential art book. He sort of encouraged me in this hobby because he liked to draw cartoons.
Well, he
I
was
don't know. I
in
mean, for cartoons to be
was
funny, though, you see, it's almost like the funnier cartoons are not well drawn. If it's well drawn, it's
yeah.
not really that funny. That's the
Well,
problem.
one of the funniest cartoonists I ever saw was John Callahan, and John Callahan was quadriplegic.
Oh yes, John Callahan. Yes, yes, yes.
If any of the kids out there have not read John Callahan's autobiography, He Won't Get Far on Foot,
Oh yes.
you really should pick it up and read it. It's an inspiring book. If you think things are bad in your life and you can't go forward, read about John Callahan. He's passed,
Oh, did
but
he? Oh, I don't
he
know. I
left a
didn't know that.
legacy.
I have to admit, I hadn't heard of him until I saw the movie. You won't get far on
Well, yeah,
foot.
that's because you're uneducated. That's why
Yeah.
you know me.
Yes. That's why I need Dale to tell me these things. All right. Now
Anyway,
here's.
I don't care if you show our audience all 2 of them. Um, I would like to see the early Pewfell stuff and talk to you about it sometime.
You would really?
Yes, gives me an excuse to come up there because I don't really like you.
Well, I'll tell you what. Next week we'll do a more Pupil-y show because I'm going to
All right.
start running it. Oh, but yeah, if you go follow at Pupil on Instagram or Facebook/Pupil, I'm about to start rerunning Donor Chaos. Not till January 1st, but this week I dug out the old Pupil animation that I'd done, which was only done in Flash, um, and wasn't very good. But yeah, I did voices for it and everything. Um, uh, okay, my paper here. Okay, my lines are
Are
too
you
close.
are you using a pencil extender?
Yes, I use pencil extender, or as it's called, a miser, pencil miser. It's the General's pencil miser. I don't know. I don't think that's the same General that sells you insurance, but maybe. I don't know.
You know, my buddy Rebecca Alzafon, she was hired by General for a long time on their drawing kits. They used her artwork for the packaging.
All right, but I'm not cheating using pencil. I was just sort of marking the edge of my paper so I get my drawing in the paper. The trouble is, it's a bit low. Um,
Ah, a Sharpie.
you know what? Yeah. Yes. Well, a sharp for what I'm doing here, which is stunt drawing. I should probably come in here like a little early in the morning and do this all beforehand. Um,
I'm not getting up any earlier.
no, well, you wouldn't need to be here for that. That's about me being prepared.
So are you going to draw by the seat of your pants?
Yeah, I'm going to draw by the seat of my panties. Wait, okay, let's go up a bit. Sorry, it's knocking the camera around. I did sort of somewhat do this before, and then I knocked my camera about, and now I can't see. Can you see? I can't see the red lines on there that I drew.
I
There
can
we
see
go.
them.
Okay.
The camera's having difficulty focusing on it.
Yeah. All right. Oh, a little settle down. All right. All right. Well, I guess I'm drawing similar to what I did last week. Where's the top?
Okay,
Where's
so
the top?
you have reference open on your iPad out of shot,
Yeah.
and you're going to be going back and forth between the reference and your drawing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, Dale, if you'd like to make some music or something, like royalty-free music for me to draw to, that's nice. That's normally how I like to draw, with some music. Or, yeah, or just concentrating. So I'm doing a model here. This is a model I like. Her name is Afro Gaby. I think she's Brazilian or something. She speaks in some language that I don't understand, which is most languages other than British English. My first job in America was translating from British English to American English.
What, you're like doing subtitles for shows on BritBox?
No, well, they didn't have things like that then. No, I was doing language teaching books. It was a little more ethically. Yeah, I was translating, because if you learn in Africa or the Middle East, you learn with a British accent. And if you learn in Asia or South America, you learn with an American accent.
Really?
Yes. So I was translating.
Now, was this translating like a lot of Cockney rhyming slang, or?
No, it was more just, stuff the kids were playing with their dogs, sort of thing. I don't know. I can't really remember now.
Now, what you're doing right now is technically contour drawing because you're not blocking out any shapes. You're committing immediately to line.
No, I'm not blocking it. No, well, the shapes come instinctively. I mean, the shapes, they're all sort of there. I don't know. Yeah, but yes, okay. Now you're talking about, like, drawing from the art instruction schools.
Yes. Well, there was a famous book here in the U.S. called Drawing on the Right-Hand Side of the Brain. And there's a famous exercise that most of us in American art school in the beginning art classes would have to do, which is you turn your reference upside down and then you do a contour drawing of the reference. And then when
I've done that exercise. Yes, yes, I like doing contour drawings. Yes, I remember doing some art stuff, and yes, so contour drawings was very much, that's something I was sort of in my wheelhouse, I suppose. Yes, and Mike Mignola, I was looking at something that he was talk that he was giving, and he was talking a lot about shadow shapes. I was like, oh yeah, I don't really think about shadow shapes, but I probably should.
Well, and Mike Mignola, for the kids in the audience who don't know, he is the artist for Hellboy.
Yes. And he's a very inspiring character, and I didn't realise he was originally from Berkeley.
I'm growing into his art. I mean, I love the character and I love the movies, but there's Amber. Hi, Amber. We have an audience member. Woo!
Hi, Amber. Thanks for dropping
in. Are you
in.
Drinking with us this morning, Amber? She's not responding.
What did she say? Now, Dale, are you putting the comments up on the screen for people to see?
How do I do that again?
Well, there's a little thing at the side where it says chat, and if you go like boom.
Oh, I didn't let Dale finish. Double click on something.
Takes one to know one, Amber.
No coffee. I don't know how I do this. I'm trying to click on stuff and nothing happens. I don't know if I have the same screen controls as you do.
You should be able to like click on the comments on the side. Like there's a little thing that says chat. Do you see that?
No, mine is down. Well, I see the chat and I see the comments.
Yeah, so if you click on one of them, it should pop up on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Well, I just did that one, but yeah, okay.
I can't do that.
You can't do that?
No.
Oh.
So I'll read the comments off.
All right.
I mean, we usually have only like one audience member.
Well, I'm
Amber
trying to be
doesn't
better
have
at responding
coffee.
to comments. That's my goal here.
Amber needs coffee because she's a mom. Coffee
Yes.
is mom juice.
Well, I've tried giving up coffee. My Chinese medicine guy, he drinks a lot of coffee. He says that's his one vice. Well, I know he's got other vices.
That was the guy I met, right?
Oh, Joseph, did you meet him? Yeah.
Yeah, he's at one of your parties.
Yeah. I've been seeing him so long. He's really transitioned into being a friend rather than just a medical
And he's not
practitioner.
sticking needles in you anymore.
He doesn't do. He's sort of not doing needles these days because you have to have all this licensing and stuff like that. Well, he sort of during pandemic he went off and went to his boyfriend's house in Maine. Um, well, I won't get all into his personal life, but
Too
so he
late.
sort of left town for a while, and then he came back and well, he hasn't sort of got recertified, so he's just sort of doing me as a favour these days, but he just sort of stretches me now because you can do it all with stretches. It's a bit more hard work with needles. You sort of pop the needles in, and then you can go and sit in the other room and check your email.
Yes, kids. This show we recommend acupuncture.
But listen, I've learned so much from that. And the thing is, like, I keep learning things from it. I'm like, is that true? Is that true? And then a few years later, the doctors will come on the radio and they'll say, oh, we've just discovered a new organ in the human body. It's called, like, the fascia, or the interstitial layer between the muscles. We thought it was just, like, white tissue that didn't really do anything. But now we've realised it's actually a whole organ. And, oh, we've also realised it's the system that acupuncture has been working on all these years.
Yeah, I
And you're
remember
like,
that.
okay, that's
That was
doctors coming on and telling you they've just discovered a new organ. I mean, how long have they been chopping up bodies and looking at organs, and they still, and I had heard it first from my acupuncturist. All these things. Like every time the doctors come on the radio, they tell me something I heard 5 or 10 years ago. Then they're like, "Oh, we just discovered this."
well. There. That
Movement
was
is
the
the key.
interesting
That's the
thing.
other thing they're saying now. Oh, it's like they were saying, ice your foot. Well, actually, they're saying, oh, if you ice your foot, you slow down the healing. Guess where I heard that first? My
From your
acupuncturist.
friend with Chinese medicine.
Yes.
Actually, I believe with knee transplants, they will have an ice bath. This thing you wrap around and ice water circulates. It's supposed to promote healing.
Um, when you injure yourself, your ankle, like or whatever, swells up, and the reason it swells up is because that's how your body starts to heal it. All right, so it's sort of moving stuff there. If you ice it, you numb the pain, sure, but you make the sort of tissue very brittle. But you can sort of use it. It's sort of better if you're going to use it. All right. Certainly, if you heat it, it will make it swell up even more, which will help it heal faster, but it will make it very, very vulnerable. So you do need to be very careful about that. Um, I'm not a medical practitioner myself, so I've got to be careful what I say on the air.
Yeah, kids, I wanted to remind you when old artists get together, they talk about their aches and their pains and their medical stuff.
Well, I was really talking about it because my son injured himself this week. Well, I
Well, that's
don't.
because he's like delivering packages. That's
Delivery
like
packages.
that's
Yes, he,
gonna
he
happen.
slipped on a faulty. Um, Right, her hand's going off the screen here, so I have to sort of make this bit up a bit.
Now, Chuck, you're drawing here without a net. How
Yes.
long did it take you to get fearless like this?
Whew. Now you're making me fear. You give me the fear.
I know. That's why I said it. I'm a dick. Sorry, I I keep forgetting we could have kids watching. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what. Yes, I was very fearful about any sort of drawing. I used to like drawing sort of punk girls and stuff. I found some drawings I'd done when I was 15, but I thought, oh, I'm not very good at all that. And I don't know what to tell you. In that, I then just drew cartoons for years and years. And at some point, I was like, oh. Well, I went to like a live draw like a life drawing classes that they had in San Francisco.
Hmm.
And okay, well,
Is that in the Academy of Art?
no, no, this was more recently. the Academy of Art's a rip-off anyway. That's just a money-making machine for Sir Francis Mill or whatever his name is. She's got a nice belly button. I'm going to add a little Christmas ornament to her belly button. She doesn't have that. Look like something you could hang a Christmas ornament off. Okay, I'm going off the screen for the best bit here. Sorry, folks. And yeah, I was sort of doing that, and I was like, oh, actually, I thought, well, at first I was like, I don't know, but then other people were like, oh, that's really good, and then they ask you at the end to sort of put your drawings up, and the model picks her favourite ones, and I kept getting picked in the top 3 a few times. I was like, oh, well, that's pretty good, and then somebody came up to me and said, oh, how'd you get to draw so good? And I'm like, oh, do I? I don't know.
I did life drawing for years. It's just it can be addictive, and you're spending the time going to life drawing groups versus actually doing art. You get to the point where you're practicing so much you're not doing the stuff that you wanted the practice for.
Yes, I suppose that's true. Yes, I do. Yeah, I do sort of want to do more people. All right, her body sort of got bigger, so I started doing the head smaller, and then I don't know. Yeah, okay,
Well,
it depends
it's
on how the camera tilted it is.
that's why you underdraw. That's
Yeah.
that's always the danger of just contour drawing, is that you're gonna blow some of the proportions. I had an instructor tell me something really interesting. This is Jim Smith, who
Yeah.
teach down in Palo Alto. He said if you never took the pencil or pen off the paper while you were contour drawing, it was more likely that you would get all the proportions correct.
That's good. Probably a good point, because I've done that, and it's probably true. Yeah, the head definitely got a little small. But well, it's also I'm sort of trying to fit it all in the camera. All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's probably things I could do to make it sort of feel a bit bigger. I could sort of make the hood go up a bit. I guess I could sort of do that.
Oh, don't worry about it. Now,
right,
are you
now
going to
I'll put some
watercolor
black
this?
in, that will help.
No, hatch it. We don't see you doing any hatching.
I don't really like cross hatching that much. I don't know.
That's why I want you to do it. Because you got me up at 9 a.m.
Yeah, I didn't get.
Why don't you like hatching? Just because you're lazy?
Because some people do it so good. I mean, I like it when it's done really well.
Yeah, Frank Cho's really good as a hatching.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, I suppose.
But he's moved on to this. He was doing hatching in the style of Franklin Booth. Kids, go out and learn about Franklin Booth and Bernie Wrightson.
He's the guy that shot
Wrightson,
Lincoln, right?
Frankenstein.
He shot Lincoln and he created Frankenstein.
No, that's a different Booth. You're thinking about John Wilkes Booth, John Cleese's wife.
Is she related to him?
No, that was Connie Booth.
Yeah, Connie Booth. But I thought she was Canadian. That's probably why.
Isn't Canada and England?
I thought that was Lee Harvey Oswald's
country anyway.
Which president did he shoot? Why did nobody shoot Donald Trump? That's what I want to know.
All right, we're not going there. Remember, we said this would be a non-political show.
Politics. Well, the economy's doing really well right now. They were just saying.
I had a nice year. I can afford the good non-alcoholic beer.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yes.
My grocery store has like about 8 different brands of non-alcoholic beer.
Really?
Yeah, that means that we're starting to have a non-alcoholism problem.
Yeah. That's the problem, exactly. Yeah, I noticed that when I was back in England a few years ago that the non-alcoholic options had really grown. You could
Yeah.
definitely sort of. It's a bit like that guy who calls himself the vegetable whisperer. He says he just does the same thing to vegetables that other people do to meat, and then they taste just as good. So I was like, oh, that's interesting.
I considered vegetarianism before the pandemic. There was a restaurant, sadly it's closed, in San Jose called Happy Hooligans,
Ooh,
and
like
they
from the comic
had
strip. Wasn't that Happy Hooligan a comic?
yes, they had fake chicken and waffles, and they had fake meatball subs, and they were really good.
Mm.
Problem is, I have to cook for other people, and that would mean I would have to make them vegetarians.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't want it.
Speaking of not vegetarian, isn't Tina making some sort of pork thing for you for Christmas?
Fliskesteg, which is Danish for pork roast. But it's a particularly they get a particular port loin. It's like they get all the best bit. They get all the loin and all the crackling, and I don't know what happens to the rest of the pig. Probably gets fed to other pigs.
So she's gonna cook for you for Christmas?
She's gonna cook the fliskesteg, and I'm gonna do what I do, which is make Yorkshire pudding.
I've got to do that.
It's good. I've got over here in this country. It's called popovers. I discovered, and I got a really good popover pan. So actually, my Yorkshire puddings are better than ever since I came to America.
I can't cook a Yorkshire pudding. I can cook a toad in the hole. So I cook a toad in the hole, and I lie and I say that it's Yorkshire pudding.
Right, you do know that you're not supposed to use actual toads, right?
I wish I could get toads. I wish I could get frog legs.
My friend had a toad who lived in his front yard. He gave it a name. I forgot what it was called.
My grandfather had a toad that lived in his front yard, and he would live under the bug zapper because all he had to do was just like look up and have his mouth open, and the fried bugs would fall into his mouth. The toad was enormous.
Well, okay, so this toad though, yes, it sort of he lived in one of those houses in Oxford where you went up some steps to the front door and you went down some steps and there was a sort of basement area, and the toad lived in this sort of little front yard down, like low down, a very small little area, and I don't know, it was sort of under a anyway, it seemed really happy there, but eventually we discovered why, because there was a whole lot of flooding in Oxford one year and his whole basement area was flooded. So clearly the toad was clearly enjoying the natural dampness.
I like having wildlife in the neighborhood. I mean, it sucks every once in a while. We had coyotes down in San Jose, and they were eating the cats, so we had to keep the cats in. So,
well, okay, if a cat gets eaten by a coyote, that's the cat's fault, because I've never seen I mean, normally the cats are pretty wily when it comes to that sort of thing.
not house
dogs
cats.
chase cats; they never catch them.
So, what are you using now? You switched from the Sharpie to what?
Okay, this is a Blick Studio red pen. I don't really know why I have it, but I have it. I quite like it. It's lasted a long time, actually. I recommend it. The only thing I would say compared to I really don't like those Copic markers because they're expensive and run out. But I know you can refill them, I suppose, if you're clever. But well, actually, this one hasn't leaked. I had something blue that sort of leaked, but all right. Well, it's fine. It's fine enough.
So Chuck, when you draw contour, what do you get out of it? Is it practicing your hand-eye coordination, or your ability to simplify? What do you get out of it?
Drawing a comic book, did you say?
No, I mean, what are you getting out of doing a drawing like this? What does it
Oh,
teach you? What abilities does it strengthen?
it strengthens all my abilities, and it makes me feel better. It improves my mood, um, for one thing. Yes, improve hand-eye coordination. Yes, sure. I have a nice picture at the end. This is the thing about doing a real one, not a computer one, because a computer one, well, it's a bit like playing a video game, and at the end you're like, what was the point? I just wasted 5 hours of my life.
Thank you. You do know that that's what I did last night.
Hey, what are you playing?
No, I was drawing on the computer.
Oh, drawing the people. Well, uh, I mean, okay, you have it. You can print it out, but I just started realizing I got very little satisfaction out of doing that. After doing it more and more for work and stuff like that, the more I was doing it, the more I was realizing, like, oh, I do not get the same satisfaction out of this that I get from actually drawing on paper.
Okay. And when you say satisfaction, you're not talking about huffing the marker smell.
Well, I don't think so,
Okay.
but possibly. All right, I'm doing what you said this time. I'm going to go from light to dark. So see, I'm learning from you because you're actually quite a good art teacher. Dale. You do know quite a lot. You went to art school.
Yeah, much to my regret. I shouldn't say that. The instructors I had at San Jose State were quite good. Um, but San Jose State wasn't set up at that time to teach realistic art. Um,
Oh,
you got to remember back in the 80s, there was still
in the
more of
80s,
an
I think it was like
influence
the
of modern art.
1880s. Is that when you were at school?
Yes, the 1880s. No, thank you. Thank you. I'm not that much older than you are, Chuck. But no, the actual study of perspective and anatomy, the hardcore study of it, that would come a little later.
Yeah.
And that was after 91. I think San Jose State's illustration department improved. I actually ran into a kid a couple of years ago at an NCS event in Long Beach, National Cartooning Society, who
Oh
was from the
yes.
San Jose State illustration department. They have a, well, they had, I don't know if it's still there, they had a club called the Shrunken Head Man, which is the Illustrators Club. And they were, the school was producing some very talented artists. But
okay, I mean, I heard somebody say that the kids that are good when they start in art school are the kids that are good at the end of art school.
well,
I don't
it
know how true
depends
that
on
is,
what
but
you
yeah,
mean by
I
good.
think a lot of it is like an innate talent. Like there are a lot of tricks that you can learn in art school, but like a lot of artists just draw like all those tricks, and okay, that's good, and I suppose that's probably good for being commercial success. But
Well, no. Um, you have to define what commercial success is.
well, like getting a
Um,
job for Marvel, and drawing the superheroes that way every time.
well, I don't know if that's a commercial success.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, yeah. I mean, like, okay, like the other kind of like if you're talking about like sort of phenomenal commercial success, where like, oh my god, you're a star artist, everybody wants to buy your work. I mean, that's a very rare sort of thing.
Okay, well, let's look at who is probably the most successful 20th century artist. And I would say that was Charles Schulz.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. All right. Fine. Hard to argue with that.
But
oh god, I missed that.
there are some really good artists, like for example, James Gurney, who did the children's book Dinotopia,
Yeah, James Gurney. All right.
which was a series of very well done oil paintings. And he was a National Geographic illustrator for many years. He
Yeah.
did sci-fi book covers, and then he had his idea for the book
I haven't seen his
Dinotopia.
sci-fi book covers. I'd like to see more of those.
And he was able to spin off, license the concept of Dinotopia to some TV movies. So
Yes.
he's successful, but I don't think, and he knows all the things about color theory. He has a great book on color theory. He has a great book on illustration. But even though he is a masterful realist artist, he didn't approach the sheer amount of money and popularity that Charles Schulz did. And Charles Schulz drawings, they're cartoons. They're simplistic.
Yeah, he boiled it down. I mean, okay, but so somewhat though, a cartoonist is a writer. All right, so a writer can't draw at all, but they sell lots of books. So I don't know. Yes, there's something about that. He wrote, right. I mean, yeah, he got the right blending. He did what a cartoonist does, which is blend drawing and writing. But he also had a sort of, he's a designer, and that he had a sort of code that he invented for his drawings and his characters, and he invented it fairly willfully, I think. Seeing like sort of things that he did in preparation to it. But all cartoonists, like, they evolve as well. Like the first ones look very different from like once they've been going a couple of years, and then they really start to look like what they're supposed to. And I mean, certainly with Pupil, the trouble is I often do something, and then by the time I get good at it, then I stop. Like I was doing, like I did the same with Pupil. Like by the time I finished it, I was pretty good, and I was like, okay, now I've got to do something else. And then by the time I was doing this comic Dr. Dig for the Dig magazine, and that was it was a different challenge. I was writing those too, but they were a terrible employer, and no one was really seeing them. But I did them for a while, and the last few I did, I thought, oh, those are really good. I really got the hang of it now. But I got to stop working for these people because they don't pay me.
Well, we were talking about kids going to art school so they could get a job with Marvel. This comes down to that idea of the barbell strategy for starving artists.
Yes, and somebody like Frank Cho definitely thought of himself as an athlete. I'm like training like the athletes that I saw on the school grounds.
Yeah, is it better now Frank Cho? He had his own strip, Liberty Meadows, and then he's been doing comic book art and covers for the big guys.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I was getting Frank Cho mixed up with Jim Lee a bit there, I think, but actually, okay. Yes,
but
Frank Cho too.
The question is it better to come up and self-publish versus work for somebody else? Like the one that I always remember is the Oatmeal, which were no offense to the artist, they were awful, the drawings, but because they were his own writing and his own work, he made a lot of money.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing self-publishing. I make no money, so I don't know what to tell you about that.
Yeah, you're well. I don't do any publishing and don't make any money. So
okay, I published Rob McCarthy's book. That's now my best-selling book. That's like I just did the cover. It's like it's a book of prose, though. Otherwise. So,
I remember that. That was at your Urfspace show.
It's a great book. It's the Star and the Space Prince. What's it called? The Star and the Space Princess. And I don't know what to tell you. It's a good book. It's short stories. I loved it. I thought, like, Rob, he has trouble getting published for one reason or other. I think it's hard. He's outside of the mainstream, but he's an amazing writer. He's very, very witty, very funny, and I was like, oh, I could put these out in a book. I was sort of publishing all these books. I was doing the Future Sounds of Urfspace. I'm like, Would you like me to publish it? I mean, publish it. I'm just going to put it on Amazon for you. But I did it, and yeah, and then now it's my best thing. But I think it's probably because Rob's got like his own fans and people who like him and support his work. So that's
Well,
good.
I think that book was actually advertised on Cinema Insomnia by Mr. Lobo. I think that Rob's done some comedy writing for Cinema Insomnia.
All right. Well, I just think Rob should be, more widely recognised for his abilities. And so I thought I'd publish that for him. And but even so, I mean, nobody's retiring. But he's doing well. He's doing a good job of marketing it and promoting it. I mean, that's the other problem is that I don't spend any time marketing and promoting it. What I did this week, I sort of sent out Christmas emails to people and sent them a picture and said, sign up for my email list if you want to see more. But so far, I think one person did. You're not signed up to my email list, I noticed, Dale, but maybe you've got enough information about me already.
That's because I'm lazy.
Yeah. No, everybody's lazy and whatever, and yeah, who knows it? And you get off spam and like artists can't really rely on other artists to buy their work, and most of the people I know are other artists.
I was
But
born
if
with
you got an
lack
email
of
from me this week, go
follow-through.
ahead and sign up for my email list.
No.
That way, I'll let you know when I do my Astro Kitty and Urfspace book, or go sponsor me on Patreon so that I can make people in love, which is what sort of in the back of my head. That's what I really want to do. But
Can I just come up and buy you a beer?
I don't really drink much these days, but you can do. I'll be at Winter's Tavern today. Anyone who wants to buy me a beer, I don't really drink much, but I'm going to probably have a few drinks today because it's Christmas.
I don't drink much. I'm going to go to a tavern and have a few.
Well, I'm going because a number of the artists on the Future Sounds of Urfspace will be there. Topping the bill will be Charm World coming on at they're going on at 11 at night. The show starts at 3. I don't think I'm going to be quite there for the early show. But my friends the Seagulls are going to be on at 4:50, I think. So I'm going to be there for that, and I think I'm going to try and hopefully make it all the way through to Charm World. Because I love Charm World, and I'm so grateful to them for letting me use their song on my album. And it kicks off the album Lost Loser. It's so great. And frankly, you all should be buying that album. You can get it right now on Spotify and all those other places.
You're the worst show.
What? I'm the worst show.
So when are you going to pull out the white pen?
What? That's why you shouldn't self-publish, because how can you be a good salesman and a good artist? It doesn't really make any sense.
You can't.
And then you have to be like, if you're self-publishing, then you have to be a sort of a banker and a print production person and like all this. And so who's got time to draw after you've been doing all that? So you've got to rely on the publisher. The publisher's just like, well, you can't make any money on this, so I'm just going to steal it all.
I know Sergio Aragones is having his daughter do some of his business for him now.
Yeah, Greg Beeder used to say when my son was little, he said, oh, yeah, he's your future assistant.
Oh, you know Greg?
Yeah.
Greg's awesome.
Not that well, but quite well. I mean, well.
I went to school with him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I sat next to him at a Comic-Con one year. Him and I think he was sharing a table with Alan Groening. Groening? How do you say Alan's name? I don't really know. And so I got to know, that was like, I think it was the first time I went down to Comic-Con, so I got to know him a little bit. And we had a shared interest in British folk music. And I went to see this band called the Strawbs with him. He's a nice guy, but
Greg,
it's a little far away from me to be.
Greg loves Nellie McKay.
Oh yeah,
I've never heard her, but he raves about her.
What is it about her?
She's a musician.
But what does he love about her? She's folky.
Oh, I don't know. All I listen to now is Ghost.
Ghosts?
Yeah. It's like a cross between Satan, and Abba.
Oh.
That Ninja Sex Party. So, kids, if you're listening, go to YouTube and look up Ghost, and then look up Ninja Sex Party.
Didn't ABBA just come out with some new stuff? Pretty sure they did.
I don't know.
There was, when I was in England over there, they were saying like, and they, yeah, they were coming out with some new stuff.
I wonder how many of the kids here that would be watching the show would know who ABBA is.
Well, I don't know if anyone's watching the show. I'm doing it. That's all. That's all I know. They should know who ABBA is because they got new singles out, and they like the Beatles with their new stuff. They're rebranding it for the kids, and why the hell not? Because all the modern artists are crap. So
yeah, I can't believe the Beatles came out with a new single.
Well, it's called The Gravy Train. We'll be riding the gravy train. I wish I could sing.
Dude, it's time for you to pull out the white pen.
But you have to lug all your band equipment. That's why I couldn't do that. I couldn't go lugging my band equipment around. But if you're the singer, I guess you don't have to lug any band equipment. So that's the secret.
Singers suck.
I mean, like Bruce of Charm World, he's writing in his own songs. He's been in different bands. Charm World's a fantastic band. Him and Cynthia and alternating drummers. They've got a good drummer right now.
Pull out the white pen.
What's that?
You've put in all the shading. You need to start bringing back the highlights.
Where do I have to bring them back? I've left them where I want them.
You're absolutely terrible with art directors.
You're an art director now.
Okay, you're not. Are you blocking in the shadows? It doesn't look like you're blocking in the shadows. You're just rendering them in.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by blocking in the shadows. I'm just drawing what I see.
Didn't we have this discussion about Mike Magnolia, where you were
doing
learning
shadow
about
shapes? Yeah. Well, I did that last week, and you were criticizing me, saying I should build them up. So this week I'm building them up.
Well, I criticized
now
you.
You're criticizing them. That's all right. You couldn't criticize me more than my own voice in my head does.
Give me time.
It's like... But actually with these drawings I don't mind so much because it's just fun. I like going straight in. I'm not faffing around with a pencil. Pussyfooting about.
Did you ever see
everything erasable and you can redo it and blah blah blah. Boo. It's like a song that's all sung on auto-tune. I mean, trouble is, people buy it. So I don't know what to tell you.
Well, that's the whole point about art. You need somebody to buy it.
Rubbish. What about J.D. Salinger? Well, I guess the trouble is people bought that one book, but then he sat and locked himself away, writing all this stuff that he didn't intend it to be published till after he's dead. He's dead, and they're supposed to be publishing. I don't know what's happened. It's probably all crap, so they're not publishing. It's supposed to be all coming out now that he's dead.
I'm trying to remember who J.D. Salinger is.
Catcher in the Rye.
Oh, that's right. That's that book that all the disgruntled young men have in their back pocket.
Yeah, well, he was an interesting character. I mean, he really, he had his experiences in World War II and liberating the concentration camps and all this sort of stuff, I think, had a lot to do with his viewpoints.
I never read that book.
Well, I had a well-meaning teacher who gave it to me to read in school, and I didn't really like it. But I must say, my friend who was, really not happy at school and had all sorts of shit going on in his life, he really liked it. So I think, I was a little too happy as a kid. That's the problem. That's mainly my problem. That's what holds me back as an artist. Just I'm a little too happy.
Well, I just assumed because you were from England that none of the kids are happy there.
Well, yeah, I know. They're in Basingstoke. They're also miserable. And like Basingstoke's a really wonderful place. Everyone's like, oh, I was the only person who liked Basingstoke, but then of course I left it and came here. But that was not. I would say. It'll all work out in the end, I guess. That's what I'll say.
You're really creating a lot of contrast there by working those shadows so dark.
Well, she's got a lot of body. It's probably more something I should be doing in paint. I don't know.
Remember, if you look at a pinup artist, they don't usually have that great a range of values.
Yeah. Well, she's got yeah. It's probably these highlights are a bit too much. You're talking about bringing them back. I think I've got to push them back some more, push them away some more.
Well, no, you need to go into the shadows and put reflected light.
There isn't any reflected light. Wait, did I just go with number two when I meant to go with number one? I hate. You can't tell. Can you see the difference between number two and number one? Number two literally looks lighter than number one. This is number
What
two
are
and this
those?
is
Are
number
those
one.
Pantone?
They're Winsor and Newton Pro markers.
Okay, this is one of the reasons I don't use markers. All those markers and what color they're supposed to be, they're a scam.
They're just making up colours.
Well, no, I used to sell Pantone. Pantone was fugitive. They would actually change color over time. You had to, this is back in the 80s, you had to sell your Pantone stock quickly because you would get two sheets of Pantone paper that were supposedly the same color, and they would be different colors depending on the age of the paper. Same thing with markers. Markers age, they change colors.
Yeah, no doubt. All right.
That's why you want ink. Ink is your friend. Good ink. Not that Sharpie stuff you're using.
Well, I guess I'll do another drawing over here and on the side. Keep going. Still got some paper left.
You can't find your white pen, can you?
I didn't really like that white pen, to be honest. I'm just going to do another model over here. I'll do three of them. You know, then it's Astrid, but then I have to do one as Henrietta Queen. That's the problem. Henrietta Queen's hard to draw, I realised. Being an alien, it's hard to get good reference for her. I think she's a bit of a shape changer.
And remind the audience who this character is.
So Henrietta Queen. This is Henrietta Queen. There's Astro Kitty. I don't have Space Gen on the cover here for some reason. I had Dinky Halinky, but I think Dinky Halinky's out of the band. Space Gen is in now.
You see, that's the difference between you and me. I don't name my characters because it makes it easier to do cruel things to them.
Yeah, I don't really like to do cruel things to my characters. Yeah, I remember Phil Foglio, when I showed him some of my earlier people, he said you need to make him suffer more. I'm like,
Really? Yeah, he would put some of his characters through some nice violence.
Yeah.
Wonder how he's doing. I haven't talked to him in a while.
No, he signed up to my email list, so I saw, which is nice.
But he and his wife do incredible work. I really admire them. But God, I've been reading Phil Foglio's work, or Folio, however it's pronounced, since the 1970s.
Yeah, I guess I say folio. Folio.
Foglio.
Foglio. I think I've seen. Well, I've seen him like like he would present at Comic Con the I don't know if he still does that, the cosplay like awards, and I'm pretty sure they would say Phil Folio.
Well, he's involved with the steampunk culture because of his series Girl Genius.
Oh yeah, so he told me about that. He said his biggest selling item was these sort of mad scientist goggles that he had. He said, it's typical, isn't it? You're trying to make comics, and everybody wants to just buy steampunk goggles. But that's business, I suppose. Like, look, we can't be commercially oriented. Like, yeah, if I was going to be commercial, I don't know what I would do. I'd go and be a banker. I mean, I could make a shit ton of money as a banker. But I'd have to deal with assholes all day. That would be the problem, because the only people
you're dealing with me now.
Assholes. What?
You're dealing with me now.
Dale, compared to bankers, you're like as sweet as pie.
I wish I had been a banker. Wish I had sold out, made lots of money.
No, but if that's the trouble, is then you have to spend your whole life with assholes. I don't know. Maybe you get rewarded when you go to heaven. God says, "Oh, you were a shitty asshole all your life, so," and you have to spend all day with shitty assholes. So.
Well, I just want the money. Can't buy art supplies without money. Now you order all your art supplies now, don't you?
Well, exactly. You should be like. Well, it's like me at Comic Con. You should, be selling hot dogs. That way, you'll actually make some money.
I was down at Monster Palooza before the pandemic, and I thought, I should have a beer. The beer at Monster Palooza, which is a big monster movie and TV convention, the beer was $15.
Yeah. Make beer, that's a good way to make money. And you can get drunk all day too.
I don't recommend drinking. I don't drink anymore, but I do not recommend drinking at comic book conventions or monster conventions.
And why is that?
It tends to loosen your wallet.
Yeah. I was going to say because you could keep getting into fights with cosplay.
No.
Stop taking your lightsaber duels too seriously.
There used to be a comic book convention in San Jose called Big Wow. In fact, I think that's where you and I may have met.
No, I never went to that one, so it wasn't that.
Okay, but Sergio Aragones went one year, and I went with a friend of mine, and Sergio was busy talking to fans, so we said we would come back. But we made the mistake of walking down the street to Original Joe's, which is a legendary restaurant in San Jose. And I don't know how many.
Oh, I prefer cheap knockoff Joe's.
No, you want Original Joe's in San Jose.
Okay.
And I don't know how many tequilas we had between the two of us, but Sergio was impressed we were able to still be standing when we were talking to him.
Now, did he like a drink? I heard he liked the ladies. But is he married? Does he have a family?
Oh, yeah. Oh, certainly he's married. He married a dancer. I haven't met her. I don't believe she goes to conventions with him.
No. Okay.
But she's appeared in various forms in his comics.
Yeah.
And also his daughter.
Okay.
And his dog.
Is his dog like Roberto?
Yes.
Well, my dog's also appeared in my comics. and my cat, and my pet rat.
Yeah. Well, you mine yourself for material.
Well, where else are you going to mine? You can mine other people, but they usually don't like it.
Yeah.
It's a bit harder because you have to really dig into them and expose.
What terrifies me about mining yourself for material, you've seen my Christmas card ideas recently, right?
Yeah,
I'm wondering
yeah.
where the hell that
Those are probably a
material's
lot. I could
coming
probably take
from.
those down to the state and say this guy needs to be locked up.
Okay, I'm
But
gonna
they'll
make
do
a
it. They don't like
suggestion.
to lock people up. It's very hard to get some of these sections.
I'm gonna make a suggestion. Don't don't put a marker on this one.
I was going to go in lots of black. Why? What are you talking about?
No, stick with what you're doing with just the line art right now, because this has a really nice 60s look to it.
Okay. But I want to go in with the black.
No!
There's lots of shiny black everywhere.
Oh, good God. You don't listen to me at all.
Well, I mean, look, you can just, we can go back
You've got a
afterwards.
nice heavy metal look going here, and you want to whip out the blacks and put the blacks in. Don't.
Yeah. What do you got against black now?
Nothing. It's just I like line work, and you should respect your line work more.
Well, I do. I remember my art teacher was like, she liked my line work. But, I mean, you got to do shadows. I mean, haven't you?
Okay, but be sparing with the shadows. Like, notice how you use the shadow on the neck and under the jawline. Limit yourself to that and be very economical with it. You're putting all this
All her
effort.
clothing here is like a lot of black.
Don't do it.
But why? That's the whole reason I picked this picture was so that I could do all that black.
Yeah, but you already know how to do that. Try to imply that black just by putting in the lines representing the reflectivity and the shadow edges. Or not. It's your drawing. I'm just a little talking head on a video here. You're going to ignore me anyway. But you know I'm right.
I don't know you're right. I don't know what you're talking about.
I like it as it is.
The whole point
Because
is
it
like now I'm going to get out my
reminds
nice black,
It reminds me
and I'm going
of
to go in black, just black,
60s.
black everywhere.
It reminds me of 60s advertising illustration. No, don't do it.
I'm doing. I don't understand. I have to do it. Like the drawing's half finished if I don't do the black. That's just my.
Don't you? It's finished now.
How is it finished? It's not finished. It's all wrong. It needs black.
Would Matthias Aldefsson put in all those blacks? No, he wouldn't.
Well, yeah, okay, but he would have probably like done a little more sort of thoughtful on his thing.
No, he doesn't
I
do
do it loose like
thoughtfully.
that because I'm going to come in and black on it.
Oh my God. Sergio Aragones doesn't go in heavy with the spot blacks. He'll put a few in, but he's going to rely on hatching cliches, stylistic tools to imply the materials. I like it posterized like this.
Well, I don't know what to tell you about that. How are we doing for time?
Oh my God. We only have 54 minutes.
Well, I think I'm probably going to come back because I sort of picked these drawings because they've got nice lots of black on them.
Oh, good Lord. All right. If you want to use black, put black on it. But you better find the white pen because you're going to want to bring some of those highlights back.
Yeah, okay, I do have a white pen. I mean, I'll do that at the end, though. You made me very nervous about the blacks.
Good.
So yeah, so you're gonna do some shopping today?
Yeah, I don't. I still have to get groceries for the enormous food orgy on Christmas, and
Yeah. Well, I suppose. What are you going out in the public now without a mask, or is that still? Are
oh
you?
God, no,
No.
no,
Are you? So you won't be coming to Winter's Tavern then?
oh God, no,
To find me a drink. All right.
no,
Well, that's a
no.
disappointment.
Anyway, I wouldn't want to encourage you to drink anyway.
Well, I'm
Uh,
having look. I haven't drunk for weeks and weeks. I don't really drink much anymore. Once upon a time, I'd have a few. I've never really liked drinking that much, to be honest.
One
But
of the nice things
I might
about
have one
going on the
today.
wagon is you get to be an insufferable person about drinking.
Well,
No, I've got to. I have to buy gifts for people who say that they don't want anything for Christmas, which usually means you end up in a cooking store and you buy them some sort of cooking utensil.
they don't want like nice art books that they're never going to look at. I don't understand people who don't
No,
want
they're
nice
not
art
into
books.
art books.
People should like buy more art books. They should buy more graphic novels about wizards.
Oh, are you talking about your Dungeon Alphabet by Goodman Games?
Well, I only did 2 drawings in that, but I do recommend that book.
Yes, the book that I called like a dozen comic book stores and game stores looking for, and none of them have it.
Oh, really? Well, they should order it from wherever people order Goodman Games products. Which I don't know. Okay, Goodman Games just. Oh, well, they might have it soon because Goodman Games just inked a deal with Diamond Distributors, Diamond Book Distributors.
Okay.
So Diamond is now going to be Goodman's exclusive distributor.
No, I called all the good shops. Like in San Jose, we have Elusive Comics and Games. That's a good comic and game shop. Over in Santa Cruz, we have Comicopolis, which is a little tiny hole in the wall comic book store and game shop. But Comicopolis is really good because they'll have graphic novels on subjects you would not normally see. Like they had, I forget the name of who the artist and the author is, but there's a graphic novel on the history of pinball, which is really cool.
I don't know. How does one go about getting one's books in comic shops? That's what I don't really understand that.
I have no idea.
Like I've gone, like I've been like, okay, so like Mission Comics, I went to Leaf. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll take some books. He took like 4 books or 4 or 5 books of different books, and that was very nice of him. But I'm like, okay, if I got to go around every single comic shop and do that, it's just not really worth it.
Oh, back in the day, Keith Knight, uh, who draws well, I don't know if he's still drawing the K Chronicles and the Nightlife and Think.
Yeah.
He would syndicate. He would go to the independent newspapers, and I know Chad. I forget his last name. Guy who draws Tundra. He's up in Alaska. He and a partner would go around all the papers and try to syndicate the strip into the paper.
Yeah, and how did that work out for them?
Well, I don't know how it's working out for them now.
I mean, Keith
But
Knight's pretty well successful, I would say.
at
But
the
I mean,
time,
he's
it
got a very
worked.
funny product, and he's very topical and talking about things that people want to hear these days. So I don't know.
I
But
have no idea how
it's
you.
like it's the hard way to go about it. I mean, I suppose you're just it's very difficult if you're just doing what you want to do. But I mean, yeah, that's things like that. Okay, so but that's why I do all these things for Goodman Games and my agent mostly, where I just draw it and I don't really have to think about the rest of it.
I'll have to ask Lee. Lee would know. Lee ran Lee's Comics in Mountain View, and he could probably tell me how he would get his product.
Yeah, that would be good to know for next time.
If
That's
he's
your
talking,
homework, Dale.
if Lee's talking to me, I once told him that his comic book store was too clean, and he got upset with me.
The comic book stores changed. Like they used to be all dirty, and then they
I
changed.
know. I love them dirty.
People. Well, yeah, you may have loved them, but the trouble is, most people don't. Schultz, look at his drawings. They were very clean, weren't they, Dale? People liked them because they were clean.
Schultz's drawings were visual haikus.
That's avoiding the subject. They were clean haiku. Haikus are very clean. Haikus conform to a 14-syllable limit or something. So that's the definition of cleanliness in literature.
His cartoons were not clean because they had a dog in them, and dogs are filthy.
Yeah, but it wasn't a real dog, as you yourself would admit. He's like an avatar dog. He's like an avatar for God, and like what's more clean than God?
I don't think deities are clean.
Cleanliness is next to godliness.
Yes, next to.
I realised the flaw in the argument as I said it.
Nah. Oh, you mentioned Mission Comics.
Yeah, Leaf. Yes. So, yeah. What about him?
Oh
I love
no,
Leaf. He's from this neighbourhood. He was born and
I'm
raised
just
around
saying
here.
that anyone looking for gifts up in San Francisco, or if you want to buy yourself something that you didn't get
Yes.
after Christmas, put Mission Comics on your list. They could use some love.
Yes. Definitely, yes, because like all retailers, he's in San Francisco, he's been suffering, but he's weathering the storm. I feel like the economic news now everywhere is pretty good. So, you know, if you've managed to hang in there, hopefully you can keep hanging there a bit longer. I mean, people like going to see all these comic book movies and stuff like God. I mean, they should end all these bloody Marvel movies with like go to your comic book store. Support artists.
Well, there was a point where DC, and I think they got rid of this executive who was in charge. The idea was they didn't care about the comics anymore. They considered themselves a lifestyle brand, and they were going to have the superheroes appear on clothing.
Lifestyle. Well, I sit on my couch and play video games all day.
You have a no lifestyle.
That's a lifestyle there.
I've given up on video games.
Wait, I thought you said you spent all last night playing a video game.
No, I spent all last night
morning.
working on a stupid Christmas card.
Oh no! You say you were working on it. You were working on a digital drawing. Okay, well that's better than a video game.
No, I've sworn off them again.
Okay, yeah, no, I swore off. I did swear off in my life. When I was working in the ad agency, and I was like, I don't have time. You know, this is probably when I was about 30. I don't have time to be playing video games, and having a job, and be successful as a cartoon artist, or like, you know, pursue my dream of being a cartoon artist, or whatever it was, or just actually, you know, spending my life. I mean, that's a life goal. You know, video games are a massive time suck.
Oh yeah. Yes, and what do a lot of artists aspire to do once they get out of art school? Work for a video game company.
Yeah, that's. Well, I suppose that's jobs. Yeah, sure. Okay, make them. Yeah, work for a company. I mean, you got to do something for a living. It's either that or, you know, lifting boxes. So.
Nothing wrong with lifting boxes.
No, nothing wrong with it. Just
I've
enjoy
lifted a lot of boxes.
I mean, yeah, everybody's got to do what they got to do. That's fine.
But that might be one of the keys to being a successful artist is you have to make the drawing itself your hobby, not just your profession.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, I know. When we had
mine,
Phil Witt as a guest on the show, I was sort of described it as a hobby, and he was like, "Oh, you shouldn't describe it as a hobby." I love Phil Witt; he's very funny and very successful. But I mean, you've got to sort of see it as like a hobby. Otherwise, you're not going to do it.
well, people make fun of hobbies, not realizing. Well, sometimes people will get angry when you describe something as a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say, "Oh, it's not a hobby; it's a lifestyle."
Yeah.
Hobbies are one of the most powerful things in capitalism. I mean, we spend
Yeah.
enormous amounts of money on hobbies, like people going to sports games or people buying sales boats or sports car. Hobbies really drive the economy.
I know. Just look at Hobby Lobby. They're like a hobby, and they're also a political lobby.
We're actually going to get one of them in San Jose, which tells you how low the rents are starting to get.
Yeah, how far things have sunk. You've got a Hobby Lobby.
Well, hobby lobbies typically were not in the San Francisco South Bay. You had to go someplace like Sacramento to get a hobby lobby, but the rents are falling enough that they can get a big box store and put one in. I won't shop there, obviously, but we're going to be getting one.
Well, and what does Hobby Lobby sell? Pregnancy testing kits.
Uh, they're a chain hobby store. So in a way, they're
So
similar to
fishing
Michael's.
and art supplies,
Yeah.
and I mean I'm trying to think, and comic books, video
Well,
games.
we used to have in the South Bay. We used to have a couple of good hobby stores. We had D&J's and we had the San Antonio Hobby Shop. But what killed them was kids moved to computers.
Yeah, well that's a hobby. And
Yeah.
then everything that computers sell themselves, don't they? They say, "Oh, we're sorry, your software needs upgrading. Please, please
Well,
pay,
they do now. I
please
used to
pay
be a
me."
computer salesman.
Yeah, they sell themselves. Now, soon they'll have an AI, and the AI is going to know you so well, it's going to know exactly how to take your money away from you before you even
Well,
know it yourself.
you know those
So
printers
I'll
that
manage
you
your money for you. I'm going to make you richer at the same time as I make myself richer, and pretty soon we'll all be very rich.
Yes. Eventually, we will all have an above average income.
I'm looking forward to it. The computers are in charge. Everything's going to be much easier.
Well, I want the
Computers just going to say,
robots.
"Time for you to do this now. Do it now." It's like, "Oh well, you didn't do what I said, so now you're worse off. So maybe next time do what I said."
Okay, I'm going to be a horrible friend, but I want you to look at what you've done.
I
Was
think
the
it looks pretty
line
good. I think it
art
looks better.
better, or was this?
What?
Was the
Well, I'm
line
saying that it
art
looks way
better, or
better.
was this?
Hmm?
Oh, good Lord. You're not even listening to me, are you?
I'm listening. What are you saying?
You have put a lot of work into rendering.
Yeah, it looks better.
No, the line drawing was better.
Disagree.
You know, Olivia is doing a lot of marker underpainting for pinups now.
Yeah, you said something about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't really know what to make of that comment. That's very nice for her. She's very good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I should do more slow down, like nice paintings, I suppose. But I don't know. I can't like the idea of spending more than like spending a whole week on the same picture or something. I'm like, oh. I mean, sometimes I have done, but it's like,
God, I should take those markers away from you.
right. What is it? So you just like the black and white line? You're like Steve Ditko. You're the Steve Ditko of comic criticism.
Well, no, I really like line.
But the lines are still there. They haven't gone anywhere.
Like every artist who needs somebody behind him with a hammer to hit him when the art is done.
Well, I tell you what. Why don't you invest in starting your own comic company and employ me to draw the next Buford book, and I'll do what you say.
Yeah, yeah. Like I would spend that money that way.
Why not? You just going on about how much money you've got. You've got enough money to go
That
shopping.
money, I'd have
You've
a
got enough
boat.
money to go shopping. You've got enough money to start a comic company.
I don't have money to go shopping, but when the hell does that stop anybody?
If you have enough money to buy Christmas presents, you have enough money to invest in comics.
Hey, oh, that's right. I won't be able to go up there to give you and Tina your presents before Christmas.
Well, boo. I want my presents.
Yeah, that's not
You
going
get
to
me a present?
happen.
No, Dale, you got me enough presents. Just your presence on the show is a present. It's the best
No,
present.
no,
It's the best present you could give me.
no. I actually got you and Tina something.
Really? Well,
Remember,
Tina deserves something.
the spirit of Christmas is guilt. It's always good to get someone a present and make them feel bad. Where is Tina?
All right, I won't do too much rendering. I'm just doing that much rendering. Just to make you happy. I
I
better
do
write
like
the
the
models' names on here, otherwise I might forget them.
I do like the leather.
All right, where should I put it? What's the name? Okay, this is the bit I hate, is lettering. Maybe if I start with the right pen, I'll do a better job. Maybe, I don't know. I don't really have a right pen. This is the only one I got. I've already gone wrong. Also, like, I'm a bad speller. I'm sort of like, I don't know. There's all these things that I think if I was young now, I'd like diagnose myself as all these different things. I
You
think
mean
I'm
like
sort of
ADHD and
yeah, ADHD. Like Amber diagnosed me as ADHD because Amber keeps posting all these ADHD memes, and I'm like, that's just everybody. He's like, you're probably ADHD. All right, but probably I think everybody's ADHD.
well, she's a mom, so she's diagnosing everybody as ADHD.
Yeah, she doesn't have time to be ADHD now. She doesn't have time to be playing video games. That's for sure. Not if she wants to be an artist. I don't know if you. There's only so much time, but she's such a good artist, so I want to see her do more. And I was looking at some of her Philo shows, and I was like,
Mhm.
wow, those were really good. She was doing a very professional show there.
Yeah, Amber goes all in on what she does. I don't I've never seen her half-ass anything. Yeah, she's not one of those parents who's gonna leave a bowl of kibble in the middle of the room and leave her kid for like 5 or 6 days. She's actually gonna be a good mom. Well, she is a good mom.
Did you ever see that British show, The Britass Empire, with the guy from
Yes, with
Chris Barry from Red
Chris
Dwarf?
Berry from Red Dwarf.
Yeah, it was a sort of a bad show, but it got a lot better as it went on. And one of the things there was like the woman at the front desk had a baby that she was sort of raising in the drawer. And then, like later on in the series, the baby was like crawling around in the interior of the building. You never saw the baby, but it was sort of loose inside the walls of the building.
You know, people used to put kids in drawers.
Yeah, she's left the drawer. Yeah, you never see it.
That's not that historically. That's accurate. It's just not 20th century.
Afrigaby. All right. Well, we need one more model here.
Better hurry. You only have a half hour.
A half hour.
Yeah.
I've got the most difficult one I want to do now. All right.
Yeah. You have 33 minutes, and considering we're going to spend 10 of it talking.
All right. Well, you know, you don't. I mean, I'll probably continue it after the show anyway. So. You got to keep talking, Sarah, while I'm drawing, by the way.
Sorry. That was nodding off there. The non-alcoholic beer is putting me to sleep.
The same way I was nodding off while I was watching Rebel Moon last night.
Watching what?
Rebel Moon, the new show on Netflix from.
Oh, you mean Star Wars with hookers and blackjack?
Well, no, I would call it the Seven Snooze Your Eye.
Ah.
With some like. Look, the special effects stuff was very fine. That was quite fine. Like for a TV movie, sure. I mean, like, yeah, that was way better than anything the BBC ever came up with in terms of special effects. But I mean, unfortunately, because the BBC didn't have special effects, they would like work on things like called a story, an original story with interesting characters.
Yeah.
Like this was like, what the hell? It's like the Seventh Samurai, but bad. All it did was make me like wish Akira Kurosawa was still alive, but I was glad he wasn't, because he would be what the hell.
Well, most modern sci-fi movies right now are just enough story to hang the special effects on.
I know, it's the trouble. Yeah, they've got to like the special effects it's been a real curse because they just don't fucking bother with anything now.
Yeah. One of the best sci-fi movies I've ever seen has no special effects, and it's just a bunch of people in a room talking. It's you can find it on streaming. It's called Man from Earth, and it's about a college professor who's retiring, and his friends come to give him a going away party, and he admits his deep dark secret to them. And it's just a conversation.
I think I tried to watch that once. Look, that had no special effects. Yeah, look, it's got to have some special effects. Otherwise, how is it a sci-fi movie?
You don't have to have special effects with a sci-fi movie.
Well, I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, look, somewhere in between, right? Somewhere between The Man from Earth and Rebel Moon, there's like a good movie.
Yeah.
Look, The Man from Earth is fine. I'm sure some people will argue that Rebel Moon is good because Zack Snyder made it and you can't do any wrong. And I don't know, it's just like Zack Snyder movies for me. They arrive with this like massive thud, you know, thump, like he's just thrown like a huge slab of dead meat in front of you with a massive amount of force. And if you don't get out of the way quick, you're going to be crushed.
Okay, a big slab of meat would not go thud; it would go slap.
Well, a car, I don't know, like a big car, it's right, like a big dead thud, like a big dead body has just been thrown down, like, you know, concrete. Big dead concrete body. I mean, there's so much. Like, I was really trying to like it. I was
No,
really like, okay, I'm going to forgive it this, I'm going to forgive it that, I'm going to like, but I just fell asleep. I was like, oh my god. At some point, I was like, oh, you know, they went to the town, and it was all sort of rainy. I was like, oh, this is a bit like the Seven Samurai, and I was sort of chuckling a bit because Tina hates the Seven Samurai. She wasn't enjoying this movie already.
okay. Let me refresh my memory. Is this the sci-fi movie that has a hot chick who's a warrior?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
the
that's good. I
reason I'm
like that.
not
That's a
watching
great
it.
idea. Look, it was sort of somewhat fine, but then just every sort of boring trope that you could think of,
Yeah,
and it made no sense. All right, there's a bit where they go to.
I have nothing against a sci-fi movie with a hot woman warrior, but the fact is, it's been done to death recently.
I know, I know. So there's a bit, right? So so they go to this sort of this sort of rainy sort of town. It's looking a bit Japanesey, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, this bit's like a bit like he's borrowing from the Seven Samurai now. And then I realised, wait a minute, there are farmers there sort of helping save the village. I was like, oh shit, it is the Seven Samurai. And then of
Yeah,
course it is the Seven Samurai. So like, okay, yawn, yawn, yawn. All right. I mean, I guess there's kids out there. Look, I'm not the audience. Like, there's young kids out there. They haven't seen the Seven Samurai yet. One day they'll go like, "Oh my god, you've got to see this movie, The Seven Samurai, that Rebel Moon was based off of."
okay, if it's a remake of The Seventh Samurai, then it's a remake of John Corman's Battle Beyond the Stars.
Roger Corman's.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, well, like, yes, and I remember going to see Battle Beyond the Stars and thinking that was pretty great at the time. So fine. And all right, if I'm comparing it to Battle Beyond the Stars, yeah, all right, it's somewhat better than Battle Beyond the Stars, probably.
I
It's
love
been a long time
space.
since I saw Battle Beyond the Stars. I only saw it the once when I was a kid. I sort of realised it was crap, but by the end I was like, oh, I really enjoyed it. But I seem to remember, I was young enough I went to see it, like my mother was there or someone, or some my friend's mother or something, and they said, oh, this is just the Magnificent Seven. Probably not realising at that point that the Magnificent Seven was just the Seven Samurai. But this is all getting beside the point. Well, okay, and then okay, that's fine. I was still prepared to forgive it being the Seven Samurai. All right, so they recruit someone in this sort of rainy town, and he says, "Well, I know where we got to go to get the next person." They go to get the next person. This is where it gets really ridiculous. So the next person is like he's like this big hunky like Tarzan guy with lots of muscles. Sure, I mean I know people who are going to be very happy to see that guy. I thought he was pretty hot myself. What can I say? And he was like being forced to work as a blacksmith to pay off the debt, and it was only going to take him another 13 seasons to pay off his debt. This place where he's being held on a sort of prison planet, like outside, they're trying to take like the guy who owns him. He's trying to tame like a large griffin that with a face like a black cat. So they rip that off from How to Tame Your Dragon. Except it's more feathery, and they're also Harry Potter. It's like How to Tame Your Dragon and Harry Potter all rolled into one. They're trying to tame this thing.
Okay, I deliberately did not watch this, and now I'm being subjected to it.
Well, I couldn't explain how bad it is. All
Oh
right,
my
so
God.
the guy that's holding him prisoner, he's a sort of fat, slobby guy. Looks like he should be running a comic shop or something.
Hey, that is an unfair stereotype. I'll tell you, a lot of the people who work in comic shops are quite fit now.
Yeah, I know, and their comic shops are nice and clean. He's running an old school comic shop. So he had this guy slaving in the back, and they say, "Well, we need him. We can't afford to." They say, "Well, it'll cost you, as much money as he's going to make in 13 seasons or whatever." And they're like, "Well, we don't have that many credits or whatever." So he said, "Okay, well, I'm a gambling man."
Did they actually say credits?
No, I don't know. I just credits because I'm not as imaginative as the people that made this movie.
Well, no, I want to know the name of their imaginative
Galactic currency. I don't know.
Currency.
Yeah, I've no idea. It was sort of like it was sort of quite Dune-like. Anyway, I'm not doing this moral justice here, but all right. So they say, okay. He says, I'm a gambling man. This guy who I've got working for me as a blacksmith in the back here, if he could tame this griffin thing that I'm having trouble taming out the front, I'll let him go with you. Which makes no sense, because why didn't he just have him do it anyway? So the guy's like, he said, can you tame him? Yes, I can tame him. He goes out and he tames this griffin thing. Goes sort of flying around on his back like you would tame a horse. It was, unlike Harry Potter, he has to bow down.
Wait. You're saying in this sci-fi movie, there's a guy flying around on a griffin?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this is where it was really falling apart. All right, so he tames this griffin, and the guy who was like his sort of keeping him as a slave, essentially says, "Okay, you can go free now." Even though why didn't he just get him to train? He didn't need these people to come along.
Okay, this is.
He could have just made him do it as if he was his slave and didn't have to let him go free. But all right, whatever. I suppose there's some backstory if you read the comic. And so the guy gets and says goodbye, gets on the spaceship with the thing. At which point the griffin turns around and kills the guy who'd been keeping him a slave.
Okay. You see, you just explained why all I watch are old reruns, especially Space 1999.
I mean, it was just so it made no sense. It's like, well, first of all, you haven't tamed it if it's killing him.
You see, I remember.
How is he even like in there, like working? He was quite sort of happily working in the back of the blacksmith. Oh dear! Then it just sort of started getting worse from that, and then I just fell asleep.
When I was young, and I would talk to professional artists, they would always tell me that they would have a movie on in the background while they were working.
No, I can't do that. Too distracting.
And it was a way of just having noise going on in the background so they could concentrate. And what I've realized is these were guys and gals who were listening to good movies in the background, classics. Mm-hmm. And now the stuff we have is crap. And that just translates into bad art because you have artists listening to bad movies while they work.
Oh, I see. I don't know that the movies were that good because the trouble is, I think we just got spoiled a bit, and now, I mean, so when I go back and look at old movies, I think they're pretty bad. And Charlie Muffin being no exception.
Okay. For the viewers who are unfamiliar, Charlie Muffin is a 1970s British TV spy film with David Hemmings and Ralph Richardson. Is it Ralph Richardson? Yeah.
I didn't get to the bit with Ralph Richardson in it, to be honest.
And it's great. It's awesome.
I should give it another go because I was with Chris and he had no tolerance for British shows from the 1970s.
Okay, I live my life by this movie, and I wish I had lived it more because I wouldn't be here if I was following that movie.
Yeah.
The lesson that you learn from the movie is when everyone treats you like hell, it is time to run away.
Is it? I don't know. I thought like in Britain they're normally like you shouldn't run away from your problems.
No, the whole moral of this movie is run away.
Run away from your problems. Well.
Okay, now look at the line art compared to the renderings. I like the line art. And look at you now, if you leave that line art as is, you have 3 different styles of rendering in the same drawing.
But I've got to do the black.
So you have this overwhelming urge now to pull out a marker, right?
Yeah. Because I got those bits that need to be black. Just tell you. Otherwise, I don't know. Yeah, the line art is that's only half finished. Oh, I've got a message here. It says, "I know you love trans girls." I don't know. Sounds like a spam.
Oh.
I love all people, no matter their gender.
What? I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said I love all people, no matter their gender.
You know, the funny thing is, I'm like that, but I hate them all.
Yeah, that's good. That's why we're good co-hosts, because it's the opposites. You drink beer, alcohol-free beer, that's still beer.
Yes,
Maybe
alcohol.
alcohol-free, but it's still beer. Still start your day with a beer.
I don't know if it's
I don't really
technically.
like beer.
Oh,
Like
I
maybe
miss
some
beer.
Guinness
I
or
miss beer a
something.
lot. I
Hmm?
miss making beer. Making beer is fun. It's messy, but it's fun. It smells so good.
I did used to make beer. I did find that, well, it was terrible. I had another friend who made beer, and his was fairly decent.
Well, even a terrible beer, like I would make beer. There was a, I don't know if it still exists. I really hope it does. It's American Brewing Supplies in San Jose. The guy who ran it, and I forget his name, you could actually bring in your beer and wine for him to taste, and he would diagnose your brewing technique and recipe and make suggestions to improve your work, which meant he was usually half sloshed all day just by little tastes of people's work that they would bring in. But I brought my stuff in, which I thought was really, really good, and he spit it out
Yeah.
because it was skunked. And but
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
mine would always go very skunky. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But the thing is, even something that's skunked, it was still better than anything I could buy in a bottle.
Really?
Yes, really.
No. Well, I know around here I'll believe you. Yeah, because beer around here is just terrible. I don't know what they do to it. It all tastes like shit.
Oh, are you using your beer snobbery from England? Did you drink
Yeah, you
the
can't get a
extra?
nice bit of beer here. Everything here's got like wheat beer and it's all cloudy. I mean, what the hell? It's shit.
Well, during the during the various craft beer crazes in the Bay Area, you
Yeah,
had people
craft.
experiment with craziness like milkshake IPAs, which are just ridiculous, or sours, which are nearly
So, yeah, it's all
undrinkable.
shit. Just make proper beer for God's sake.
Well, there's a good. Now, when you're saying proper beer, are we talking about like ESBs?
I mean, it's really hard to say because things that you call IPAs here, they're nothing like an IPA that I consider a good IPA. They're just like some sort of cloudy shit that all tastes the same. Just all tastes foul.
Well, there used to be good IPA. It was
Yeah, an ESB.
Pliny.
Yeah, ESB. Sorry, yeah, yeah, but yes, yeah. Go ahead.
There was a good IPA. I think it was Pliny the Elder, and it was a lot of flower notes versus pine notes, and we used to call it unicorn blood because it was almost impossible to get. I would go up to a beer bar in San Francisco with a pal called the Toronado, and they would have it on tap. But you can get Pliny pretty easy now, but it doesn't taste like it used to.
Don't
But
taste like what it oughta. The water
yeah,
in Mallorca don't taste like what it oughta.
are you trying to channel Michael Caine?
Michael Elphick, actually.
Oh, okay. No, I'll tell you a good place to get beer. Um, have Tina take you down to Freewheel in, I think it's in Redwood City. They
Hmm.
brew their own British bitters, and
Okay, that sounds more like it. Where's it
oh,
called? Where is it? Sorry, Union City, Freewheel,
Redwood City, I think.
Redwood City. Okay,
Freewheel. Uh, they have fish and chips, but it's not the style of
that's my OnlyFans nickname, by the way.
fish and chips.
No, Freewheel.
Ah, Freewheel. Okay. No, but I used to go to
I've
Freewheel
never
for a
been on
pint of
OnlyFans
their
before. Just by the way,
bitters.
just FYI, just in case you're
I think the bitters that I drank, they named it London Calling.
I probably should. I probably should go on OnlyFans though. Like, dude, I should draw like naked people on OnlyFans. I keep getting
Uh,
all these like posts, like they think I'm a hot goth model, and would I like to promote their brand? I keep wanting to say yes. Please send me your clothing items.
is Hot Gothness still in?
Well, I don't know if it's in. In. Is
Well, I
it
remember the
in?
Suicide Girls. That was those
Yeah.
the photo models. I think that was back in the middle 2000s.
Yeah. Well, I prefer classier sort of models. Like piss punks here. She's a classy
But
girl.
the other good place to get beer is San Jose Clandestine Brewing, because I used to go to their brew shop when they were small, their brewery, and it was a nano brewery, and they really,
A nano brewery now.
yes, it was a nano brewery, and it was packed, and they were brewing
That's the problem
beer
with it
in
being a nano
5-gallon
brewery.
batches and selling out on it.
Nano brewery.
Yeah. It's not a
Just
nano
make decent
brewery
fucking
anymore.
beer.
They had an angel investor. So they've scaled up their production. But clandestine brewing in San Jose is a good place to get a pint of beer.
Clandestine.
Yep.
All right. All right. So well, there's some good retail recommendations. Yeah, I mean that's part of what I want you to do on the show, Dale, is recommend where people should be doing their Saturday shopping. Once they get out of bed, you can watch this show in bed, and you can get out and do some shopping.
So you
Promote the
want me to
economy.
recommend stores to an audience of people who could be coming in from anywhere in the world?
Pretty sure the people watching the show are people who are my
Oh,
parents.
wait, we have a viewer.
We do have a viewer.
Oh, I forgot to say hello to them, and they talked to us over.
Oh, it's Richard Van
15
Stone. Hello,
minutes
Richard.
ago. Hey, Richard. Woo! I wonder if he's still watching.
Now, Richard's a guy from back in the days of webcomics, Modern Tales and stuff. I don't know too much about him.
Well, he's here, or was here,
Yeah, he was here. We missed him.
which implies he was awake. Unlike me. Oh, goddamn. I swear I'm going to come up and take all those markers away from me.
I don't know why you have a problem with the markers now.
I can smell them through the screen.
Oh, you're having it's just making you remember the days when you used to inhale them and you miss that.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Well, really, this whole torso.
Model glue is just a gateway drug to art markers.
Now, the problem is she's got tattoos everywhere. That's the harder bit to draw.
Well, that's why you shouldn't have rendered it.
That's why I
You
should.
need to really concentrate more on the line.
Why?
I don't know, because I said so.
Well, I'll think about it. Yeah, okay.
No, you won't.
No, I will.
You're just saying this
Well,
to
when
shut
people
me
tell
up.
me things, I take it very seriously.
No, you don't.
I do.
Oh. I like marker. I respect people who can render in marker. But the problem with marker is marker always looks like marker.
Yeah, all right, but all mediums look like the mediums.
Right, but there is a snobism with media.
Yeah, I get it, but like, I'm drawing live here. I mean, that's what markers are good for. They're like for quick live effect.
Yes, but they're not designed to be a finished material. That's why I think you should do just all line art and then hatch it. Or better yet, stipple. We need stippling. Lots and lots of stippling. Excuse me.
All right. Well, we're probably getting near the end of the show now, aren't we?
We have 8 minutes.
Great.
You have to write her name and spell it correctly.
Here we go. Let's get her name in here.
I will tell you this: you do work quickly and efficiently.
Yeah, because of markers. Like if I was look, I mean, I could do all the things you're saying, but they take a lot more time, and I wouldn't get it all done in the time of my show.
Well, why do you have to do 3 figures versus 1?
Well, because it's horizontal. The horizontal format of the page.
Couldn't you turn the camera sideways?
Then it would be a sideways pictures. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. Yeah, I could just do one. Like maybe next time I'll do one, and then I'll keep our faces bigger. I could do it like this. Yeah.
Just do one, but pick a model who's much wider.
Or do someone reclining.
So what's
right,
the moral?
I'm going to do the model names here, just so that they're in the chat. They are at. I can't read this. The trouble is my keyboard is very far away here. At and all the.
Now, is there a moral to today's? What did we learn?
Well, we learned that Dale doesn't like shading. Dale wants to be on a show with Matthias Adolfsson with Sergio Aragonés. Dale only appreciates my art in as much as it looks like Sergio Aragonés.
No, that's not true. I buy your books.
Oh, wait. Damn it. Okay, wait. I hit return by mistake. Afro _G.
No, I just
like now she's wait. Is she Afro?
I just don't know what the viewers want to see. I personally like.
Well, I started off with Afro Gaby because
seeing someone draw a line art without a net.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's just like a recording jam. There's another model I like called Boot Bunny. Or wait, I should do her another time. Okay.
I will tell you that I do like your handling of the shiny plastic or leather on the goddess Sylvanus. That is where I think markers really start to shine.
Yeah. Well, I would have probably done it better if you hadn't been undermining me by.
Okay, you have me on specifically for the complaining.
Hang on. I'm just getting the names in here before the show ends. Oh, not Dilvanus. Sylvanus. What's wrong with my this? All right, there we go. Well, I think that's the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks, Dale, for being an excellent co-host.
All I did was bitch.
Yeah.
But the important thing is that you drew. You got to draw every day.
Yes, yeah, and I didn't draw much this week because I was sort of, I was sorting out my contacts list. Well, I did do some draw. I've got some Goodman Games stuff going on. Maybe I'll show that next week. If hopefully I'll get that done during the week.
Please do. I want more show and tell on the show.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll talk about Pewful a bit next week.
No, please do. And talk about Pewful and draw the characters.
Yeah.
Okay. You gonna push the button?
I suppose so. Yeah, I'll play the closing theme tune. I'm keeping the closing theme tune for now. Where's all the correct pictures? All right. So, thanks everybody. See you next time. Thanks, Dale. Bye.
Bye.
Theme song for Chuck Whelan Showy. He asked me to write one, but I stole from David Bowie. Here's a theme song. Chuck Whelan is the best. We have lots of hosts, but we're running out of gas. Will you be our guest on? Will you be our guest on? Be on the Chuck Whelan Show. Whoa, whoa, whoa.